All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Zach. Welcome back. Not welcome, Zach. I was trying to say welcome back, and then my tongue just decided it want to stick itself in between my teeth. Before I'm going to finish that sentence before we get too far away from ourselves. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting season of Osborne Formula Ultimate Challenge. OFUC. Last season, tumultuous throughout the back half of the season. We start off in a brand new season at Portimao, Algarve International Circuit, or Autodromo Internacional de Algarve, depending on which language you want to go with, in the city of Portimao in Portugal. We are on the Grand Prix layout, which is only a little different than the possible layout of Moto. And we're here we've extended that practice to 30 minutes. It's not quite perfect. 30 minutes open practice, open qualifying of 15 minutes, and then a race of 45 minutes. Fuel, 50%, so a mandatory pit stop, 2 fast repairs, get cars back in the action should they have an incident. 7 drivers out on the track this evening. So it might be a little bit, initially a lot of action, and we'll probably be talking a little bit about them. Devin Adams in the background there, having a quick spin. See if I hit these buttons correctly. Trying to get that car going in the right direction. Let's see if I can hit. I'll probably follow along with Devin Adams towards the end of a lap here and ride along as they get going to see what a lap around Portimao or Algarve looks like. There is a good number of corners, 15 in total. At least that's what's on iRacing. And let's see if I have everything put together to make this work the right way. Last time out at the end of season 1, a fantastic set of results and cars there. Hopefully between this week and next week, get a grid together for the season. Devin Adams through turns 1, 2 into the breaking point of the 3. Lagos, a lovely tight hairpin as he gets around that car and keeps that car going in the right direction. Turn 4, notoriously off camber, so a little dangerous on cold tires. Talking with Kevin Adams before the stream, who was out racing, or sorry, Kevin Hayes, not Devin Adams, excuse me. Kevin Hayes earlier on, and he said that he was very concerned about turn number 4, so we'll see if his woes come true or if they come true a little bit later in the lap, because I saw him spin a couple times here in turn number 8, Samsung corner, I believe it's called. Then a lovely dip between into 9 and then 10 Portimao corner. Different than is lovely. Another breaking point here into 10 and 11, and then back down. I love the hills of Portimao, Algarve. One of my favorite things about this circuit is the elevation change and how that affects the handling of the car, as well as just this lovely roller coaster ride all throughout the lap. Into the last couple corners here, 14, this lovely opening and then tightening, almost hairpin for turn number 14. Turn number 15, going to be immediately after it, this lovely wide bend that you're just flat out there. You can see that RPM range next to Devin's helmet here as we're riding along with him. The first of all of our drivers to put together a lap, which is a 136.65. Devin Adams, I think, was fastest in practice, so he'll probably be pretty rapid in qualifying, is going to be my guess. In addition to him, we have Tony Caicedo up on the board as well with that 137.01, 3/10 behind Devin Adams. Matthew Markley sets time behind both of those with a 139.14, 2 seconds down. I don't think that's a respectable time. I think he had a little bit of an off there. You saw that orange in the final sector for him. Kevin Hayes setting 2 green sectors for him. And then Devin Adams, and then Tony Caicedo. So one of the 2 of them actually has the purple there. One of them has just a green that has not been marked as a purple yet. Joey Trungale, a newcomer to OFUC, I believe, at least for the broadcast side of things, in the student driver livery, getting his laps underway. Kevin Hayes coming in 3rd at the moment with that 137.2. 2/10 or 1/10 and a few hundredths behind Tony Caicedo, who currently still holds down second in that 127. Dallara 324 is technically what these Super Formula Lights are, but we're back into Super Formula Lights again this season. Still one of my favorite, one of my favorite open wheel cars. I know we've talked about it a little bit in one of my other ones. Another league I call now joins the OFUC with using the Super Formula Lights, the Dallara 324. Fantastic engine, very easy to move and maneuver around a track, but also very rewarding when you get it set up correctly. Tony Caicedo topping the timing charts with that lap with a 136.42. Devin Adams not far behind with a 136.57. Go Bowen, for real, for real. Absolutely. Anthony Bowen currently, I think, working his way through his first flying lap. Charles Rhodes up on the board with a 137.29. Matthew Markley also improving his time. Kevin Hayes on a flyer. Bowen, unfortunately, getting a little loose there and having to reset to the pit lane. We'll see if he can get a lap done here in just a moment. Kevin Hayes coming around these final couple corners to see if he's got a better lap. Purple Sector 1, Purple Sector 2. And that green Sector 3. Does it move him up the top of the board? It does. 136.25. Now, 135, I saw Devin Adams pull one off in practice at 135.95. So about 3/10 faster than Kevin Hayes' current qualifying time is the fastest time I've seen on track. We'll see if they're able to get close to that. Currently, a good set of battles happening all across the field. Charles Rhodes, Matthew Markley, lovely couple faces. Seeing those faces over from Omek joining in on OFUC. Fantastic stuff to see Matthew Markley also joining in on the Super Formula Lights action here tonight. 0.08 separates their times. 137.21 to a 137.29 of Charles Rhodes right behind him. Devin Adams retakes the top of the timing charts with a 135.88, going even faster. Now creating a nice 3/10, almost 4/10 of a gap between himself and Kevin Hayes' fastest time, which still was faster with a 136.25 this past time by. So we'll see only one driver, Anthony Bowen, has yet to set a time on the board. We'll see if he's able to do so. My guess is he will. He was able to do so pretty easily earlier on. And that'll be my hope there. Joey Trungale heading into pit lane after his qualifying attempts. And maybe an off track for Bowen this time by. Devin Adams getting caught up by this lapped traffic. And takes the inside line. As Anthony Bowen holds the door open, I'm guessing Anthony Bowen has that off track there, or is on the, he's not probably on the outlap. Devin Adams, no improvements there for him. Tony Caicedo, no improvement on Sector 1, faster Sector 2. He's right behind these drivers that we were looking at, Anthony Bowen and Devin Adams, just a moment ago. We'll see if he improves with his Sector 3. With the sunset, it's definitely going to make the track begin to increase in temperature. Decrease in temperature. So lap times will increase. Purple Sector 3 improves for him, but only up to a 136.22, which was faster than Kevin Hayes' last time prior to the time he set, which was a 135.96. And he's got a Purple Sector 1. I'm curious to see how far he's able to take that car and get further up the order. Orange Sector 2 for Kevin Hayes. Green Sector 1 for Devin Adams. Purple Sector 1, Orange Sector 2. We'll see if he's able to improve that time as he comes around Sector 3 and then bails into the pit lane to, I think, refuel and try again. We are 9 minutes into the 15 minutes of open qualifying. Afterwards, we will have a quick hop into the radio broadcast to see how everyone's feeling before the first race of the season. Get a feel for it. Anthony Bowen, I think, having a very rough night getting this Dallara 324 underneath him for the evening. Tony Caicedo, Anthony Bowen was green in the first two sectors. I think he ended up having an off there at turn number 14. That's sorry, turn number 13, just before that. Turn number 14, the last of those two kind of tighter corners before you get onto that nice flat out turn 15 Galp corner. A faster time for Tony Caicedo, but still no improvement in terms of placing. A 135.980 for his time. See where Anthony Bowen really getting this car underneath him. I think we'll see that time for him, I think, improve over the course of the race as well. Locking up those brakes. Getting a feel for it. Matthew Markley, no improvement on his lap time last time by. See if that changes as he goes here. Really wide, but I think he's still within the lines. So he didn't go over that red painted line outside of the curbing. Or didn't put over half the car off of that, I should say. Still that battle between Matthew Markley, Charles Rotes for kind of P4 and P5 to play for there. Joey Trungale, Anthony Bowen rounding out the 7 drivers on the track. Charles Rotes bailing off as well. To reset that car, put some more fuel back in it, I believe. Tony Caicedo jumping to the top of the order, having a fantastic final sector, able to put the car together. I think he had a little bit of a toe there, hanging out behind Devin Adams. 135.74. Setting the new fastest time. Devin Adams with a 135.88. He parks that car, happy with those results. Kevin Hayes on an out lap, I believe, or just a slow lap, 102. And only 800th separate Devin Adams and Kevin Hayes at this point. And in terms of their best lap time. And it's only a 10th ahead of Devin Adams to Tony Caicedo. It's the sharp end of the spear in terms of lap times, making it a very difficult time. Oh, Devin late on the brakes ends up causing it to get lost out over there. He does a few donuts in celebration of his off track. Really get gravel all over those tires. As Kevin Hayes also parks it. I think he's waiting for Anthony Bowen to go around him. Anthony Bowen, 2 green sectors. I think he's going to be able to get a lap in this time by, which will be fantastic for him to do. Oh, no. Runs, I think, just a little too wide there. You're allowed to, I believe, use put up over half your car on the painted surface, but not much more. We'll see whether or not that counts as a lap time. He does have 1 lap time in, 142.79. 788, excuse me. And Kevin Hayes bailing out of that lap attempt. Matthew Markley also backing out, hitting the brakes there. No improvement for him. And most of the grid finding itself on pit road. See if we can take a quick walk down to the pit box and see what's happening there. So Howdy, everyone. Oh, cool. Well, we will come back later than that. I will turn on a radio for next week to get that underway. We are set to go racing pretty soon. With qualifying finishing here in a moment. Devin Adams doing another burnout. So normally I would have a great chance here to talk about championship standings, but we are in between races, or in the first race of the season. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I just have our series from last season to talk about. So maybe we'll do that for a brief moment while we're waiting through getting the qualifying wrapped up. Take a look back at last season's metrics, the course of the season. Season 1 saw Sergei Perok reach top of the towers with, top of the podium, championship, one of those words, Jesus. Saw Sergei Perok. Sergei Perok's on top of that with a 133 point win, 4 wins, 2 average start of second, average finish of second. 133 points there to 125 from Tony Caicedo, our league admin for OFUC. Robert Llewellyn coming in behind both of them with a 103. Nick Terrell with 70 points. Kevin Hayes with 50. As this race, I think, is getting slotted to get underway. We'll see if we can't hop back in here in a moment. Take a look at that start gantry as the cars get ready to go racing. 6 out of 7 drivers ready to go. The grid as it stands. Quickly, Tony Caicedo alongside Devin Adams for those pole positions. Kevin Hayes alongside Matthew Markley in row 2. Row 3 is going to be Charles Rotes and Joey Trungale, with the final row being Anthony Bowen. Lights are on. 7 lights, and we're about to go racing. They are underway. 7 cars get away off the line very easily. Looking from a shot here. 3 wide into turn number 1. Kevin Hayes putting it in between Devin Adams and Tony Caicedo. Devin running a little bit high there. Tony dropping from first to third in the first corner. Lock up for the brakes with Charles Rotes. Matthew Markley trying not to get into the side there. Charles and them going 2 wide through turn number 4. Kevin Hayes sticking it through turn number 1 there. Unfortunately, I think Charles Rotes had an unfortunate spin there. Car does not look too happy, and I think that's a broken right rear suspension for him. We'll see how that car fares over the course of this. Devin Adams still holding the lead here, while Kevin Hayes and Tony Caicedo are right behind him. These cars do benefit from a little bit of the draft, and so we'll see how these 3 get on. A little late on the brakes there for Kevin Hayes, I think. Runs a little wide, puff of smoke as the gravel gets kicked up, and he is closing that distance. 3/10 separate Kevin Hayes and the front runner, Devin Adams. Tony Caicedo waiting in the wings, was the pole sitter, got the short end of that stick. Charles Rotes jump into the pits for that suspension to get repaired. 2 fast repairs for these guys, so he'll be able to get back out and running. Still get a pretty fantastic finish in the top 10. Yes, there are only 7 cars. So end of lap 1. I'm going to ride along board with Kevin Hayes for lap number 2 if I can. Going up the inside there on Devin Adams to take over the lead. Let's see if I can hit the back and see through that wing there briefly. Devin Adams and Tony Caicedo as we ride along with him. Let's take a look here. And he talked about this earlier being a concerning corner for him. It looks like he has wrangled that car in and is able to keep that car moving the right direction. But we still have a few more corners yet to go. But he has a fantastic run here. About half a second between him now and Devin Adams behind him. Tony Caicedo hanging out with the two of them as well, just biding the time there. Matthew Markley having a spin, I believe, of his own. As Joey Trungale jumps up to 4th. 2 seconds clear of Matthew Markley. And Anthony Bowen in 6th currently. I think his car is going to... Yep, there it is, right over that hill. So the rest of the field all moving, with the exception of Charles Rotes, who's currently in the tow, getting that car towed back to pit road so he can keep it going. One thing he does get done is a really easy mandatory pit stop, though he probably will have to come in for a splash and dash at the end at this result. We're only 3 minutes in. I'm going to take a quick look at what happened with that crash. And I think he went to go brake here. I'm actually going to see what's happening. Oh, just whips it around and then decides to park it. Meanwhile, as we're going through this turn number 1, Tony Caicedo being pushed out wide by Devin Adams. And Joey Trungale behind both of them, having the fastest lap of the race, closing in on these front runners. You can see him in the background there in that student driver yellow Dallara 324 Super Formula Light. Tony pushing it too wide as these two go into the braking zone on the inside. I believe he now gets that pass done. And he is back into 2nd, trying to find his way back up the podium. But while those two have been fighting, Kevin Hayes has kind of begun to build that lead, a second, 1.5 seconds. Separating those two now. Tony and Kevin Hayes. We look out the back of Kevin Hayes' machine. If I can hop onto the gearbox cam. See that battle for 2nd as Devin overshoots that corner. And Tony Caicedo too wide for these two. So we ride along with our leader for the moment. Devin Adams once again fighting Tony Caicedo for this position. Kevin Hayes loving every second of this because that keeps building that gap between these two. And Joey Trungale behind them, and it keeps reeling them in. Off track for Matt Markley. I believe he is still going the right way. And Anthony Bowen also having an off track. Let's see in the background there, these two drivers still duking it out for position. Devin Adams, I think, coming for those podium spots this time by a late lunge for him. Sends him real wide. Tony has to do a little bit of extra braking to not run into him, going into that braking zone for turn number 2 and 3. Joey Trungale now just hanging out with them. That gap that had been built up about 2 seconds after the start of the race, as he was behind both Matthew Markley and Charles Rotes, now closed down to less than a second. Tony lunging up the inside. You can see it all from this kind of blimp camera here as these two drag race down into turn 7 and 8. We'll see how well this gets them going up and down the order. But meanwhile, a 3-second gap. You can see Kevin Hayes leaving the screen there as these two enter. And Kevin Hayes probably off having a good time on his own. Oh, Tony Caicedo really pushing that car to its limit to try to keep up and get back around Devin Adams. See those brakes light up as they are utilized, the glow of the red hot metal. Those brakes pretty warm now at this point, the tires as well, as we are getting through lap number 4. Lap times here about 1:07 and 30 seconds, a little bit over, almost a minute 45, but not quite. Kind of in that weird realm there. A look on the inside for Tony Caicedo for the lead of the race. No, sorry, not for the lead, for the second place. Still that 3-second gap there. Joey hanging out in the background, waiting for this all to unfold. Kevin Hayes now free of having a battle behind him, able to set some rapid lap times of 136.39 coming out of him, dethroning Joey Trungale's rather rapid 139 and 136.58. As he still runs faster than either of the cars in front of him in terms of lap time. Little puffs of smoke as Tony Caicedo locking up those brakes, trying to get that car stopped. I think we'll be following this battle for a little while here and see if Joey Trungale wants to get involved. And see if I ride along board, if we hit the roll bar for Joey Trungale, we see the battle up ahead. Going to see that halo cam almost, as they call it in more F1 terms. See how that battle looks up ahead for him. Tony Caicedo not quite breaking the draft. You see that gap between him and Devin Adams. Close down even further. Further back, Matthew Markley having a fantastic race at the moment. Keeping the car pointed in the right direction. The person he was battling for having a bit of a rough start to the race. I think a couple of spins as well for Matt. But he is getting that car back going in the right direction. Only about a second, still separating Devin Adams and Tony Caicedo as the complete lap number 7. Or sorry, excuse me, complete lap number 6 and start lap number 7. Tony Caicedo setting the fastest lap, 135.64. Now free and clear of the fight between himself and Devin Adams. Has plenty of time there to build that gap and try to close the gap between Tony Caicedo and Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes had a little bit of a rough couple corners there. Not an off track, but with half a second faster lap time, Tony Caicedo is hunting down Kevin Hayes with the goal of trying to retake the lead of the race. Currently equidistant between Kevin Hayes to Tony Caicedo, and then Tony Caicedo to Devin Adams. A little bit of a lock of the brake there as he gets that car pointing back in the right direction. See all three of those cars coming into turns 9 and 10. Just trying to see couple things on my end. Coming up on the 1/3 distance point, probably where I'll hop in and ask when people are going to be coming into pit. Take a quick look. Kind of if you're new to Osborne Formula Ultimate Challenge, way that we do things a little differently than our OMEC, more serious OMEC counterpart, is I like to just hop into the league chat, or the party chat for the league, where I think we usually have at least a handful of drivers. Tonight I think we have all the drivers on the track floating around that radio chat room. Take a quick look on the pit wall and see what the plan is for everyone. See how the race is going. As Tony Caicedo slowly whittles down the time there, another 135.68, only 400ths slower than his fastest, to the 136.64 of Kevin Hayes. But we'll have to see here if he's able to keep that time, that gap built between them. I feel like this is such a track that is so much fun in downforce machinery, and I think the kind of sister track Misano, which has a very similar layout but is a lot more flat, I think is a lot of fun as a result for GT machinery, because it is a lot more consistent. And kind of the thing with a lot of flat tracks, I've come to realize that it's a lot, the elements are a lot simpler, but means it's no less daunting to get a good lap time in. A 136.03 to 136.21 between Kevin Hayes and Tony Caicedo as they come up into turn number 3 once more. That gap was closing pretty rapidly. Now it seems to be closing a little less so. We'll see if Kevin Hayes can keep that distance built up. Both of them pulling away from Devin Adams, who now sits in third. And a further gap of about 5 seconds back to Joey Trungale, as all 3 of these cars have pulled away from the rest of the racing pack. And those drivers further on down the order. Charles Rotes making up good time to Anthony Bowen. Anthony Bowen still on a recovery race of sorts, but also keeping that car lovingly planted for most of that. These drivers come through turn number 10. One of my favorite spots on the racetrack is these few corners here, as the 3 of them all come through it. Devin Adams right behind these 2 that we just looked at. And not this lap, but the next lap, I think I might stop by and see what everyone thinks. One of my favorite things about it as well, it's very much a track that has not a ton of straights outside of the start-finish stretch. So once you get into the lap, you're pretty much into the lap until you come back around to the start-finish stretch for the only real big, long main straight. Very medium downforce track here. Oh, can't tell if that's real. Yeah, Anthony Bowen labeled as crashed. I think he just had a self-spin. We'll take a look at it real quick before we get back into the race here. Yeah, goes into the corner, powers on exit, and just the curbing kicks him around as he gets that car back underway. Keeps it out of the barrier, though, so able to bring that car back into racing contention here. Kevin Hayes, Tony Caicedo coming through the hairpin on lap number 10. Let's see here. About half a second separating these drivers. As Tony keeps whittling down the time, another half second faster for Tony than Kevin. I wonder if Kevin is playing the fuel game. I believe he is one that is usually one to do that, I should say. "15 minutes in, Tony Caicedo passing Kevin Hayes for the lead of the race. A fantastically done move as Kevin Hayes ran out wide in turn number 13, turn number 14 before the start-finish stretch. So now the fight is on as Tony Caicedo cornering off the inside line. Tony Caicedo having such a run. He's able to almost fully clear Tony Caicedo before turn number 1. In fact, he does. He ends up back on the attack. Or excuse me, Tony ends up back on the attack as they get into turn number 3 here. I almost don't want to invade them as they are. Invade them. Kevin Hayes playing the defensive game now, doing that move offline to protect the inside, and then he breaks earlier. Tony breaks late, locks up that front left, but keeps the car going. And Kevin has a slower exit, trying to keep out of getting involved in that incident if there was one. So Tony really hounding Kevin Hayes here for the lead of the race. I think that's the perfect time actually to come in. Never mind. Ladies, gentlemen, come to raid the booth. How are you doing, Devin? I'm doing great. Do you have like a gun held up to your head? Is that why you have to explain names every time? Okay. I figured while in the middle of this heated battle for the lead was the perfect time to come in and ask about fuel strategy. Okay. Oh. Is that an unsafe pit entry? All right. It did clock as entering the pit lane on my event tracker. That's why I was like, second. Hey. Oh. Sounds good. I know you guys. I will go watch that save. How long ago was it? Like a little while. Okay. We'll do this. We'll go ride on board with you about 10 seconds ago. This is actually a little bit more than 10 seconds. So. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yep. No, that was perfect. I rolled it back properly. So. Fantastic save. Abusing the sausage curbs, but fantastic save. I think these are... I think that's a different car, Formula Drift. I'm sure you could. I think your podium spot may dictate otherwise. Oh, yeah. How many laps of fuel do you guys have? 4? Okay. Okay. So Kevin has 4 and you have 9. Okay. Kevin, how did you use so much more gas than they did? Okay. Well, maybe if you had been lying, you wouldn't have done a less successful version of the save you got last time. Oh my god, you fully ramped that car over the sausage curbs this time. Yeah, you're good. You kept it out. So. Well, y'all are doing a fantastic job. Yeah, of course. Devin, don't lose third place to Joey. I think you got a good run there to keep on the podium at least for one race this season. Yeah, but you also just spun in turn 1. He hasn't spun yet. Yeah, but he hasn't spun, so he's more consistent. I mean, it does matter. If you're fast but you spin, you lose more time than him being slow. Okay. We'll see. Okay. Speaking of fast and slow, look at this battle for the lead. Anthony Bowen coming into pit lane. All right, I will bid you all good luck. Going back to my booth for at least a little while. So, all right. I realized none of that was on the broadcast. Oops. Sorry, chat. We'll come back in at the 30-minute mark. We'll do it all again. Set it to the button. And nobody yelled at me in Twitch chat or YouTube chat. So Anthony Bowen coming in for the pit stop and trying to find his pit box. They're a little sketchy sometimes. There he goes. Now he's up. Charles Rotes retaking the place as Anthony Bowen up and down. Fast pit stops. It's almost Formula One style. 13-second gap now built between Kevin Hayes and Devin Adams as a result of that spin. And two of them still battling it out, Tony Caicedo and Kevin Hayes. Being willing to be left behind. And Kevin Hayes commits to the pit stop. That's fair. Were we supposed to be able to hear audio log? Yes, we were. And just as I got finished, I realized that none of it came across. So I'll hop back in to talk to them as well. But basically what was told to me in that interaction there, I'll repeat it for y'all, as Matthew Markley also dives into pit lane, is I just had a quick conversation with them about a couple things. Devin Adams having a fantastic save and then a immediate spin on the next lap in the same corner, turn one. Talked with the drivers there, how they felt they were going, the initial battle there between Kevin Hayes and Tony Caicedo. So in theory, yes, but I executed it very poorly, so it did not actually come across the way I wanted it to. But I relayed all that to you. Learned that they had about 4 laps of fuel, I believe is what is actually true. Or 3 laps if you're Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes taking it real easy, because last time, like he said, like we talked about before the broadcast, he was very concerned about having those cold tires end up kicking him out sideways. Anthony Bowen back into pit lane after leaving just a moment ago. Figure out why that is here in a moment. Devin Adams in P2 of the race, 15 seconds behind Tony Caicedo, who is in the lead. Joey Trungale now, for the moment, in P3, 20 seconds ahead of Kevin Hayes, who has come in for the first pit stop. Matthew Markley also in for the first pit stop, so a pretty spread out field overall. And we are approaching, I believe we've already hit the halfway point as Joey and Devin Adams come in this time by Tony Caicedo, extending that lead by 1 lap. It's the fastest lap of the race with a 1:35.64 this most recent time by. Currently looking at the distance between Devin Adams and Tony Caicedo in miles because he's in pit road. Kevin Hayes passing both of them for position, back up into P2. About 37 seconds behind Tony Caicedo. 40 seconds is about the total travel time in pit road. Kevin Hayes going for the undercut to get some clean air. See if he can set faster times overall. Then Tony, who has to come in, I believe, either this time by or the next time by to take that required pit stop. You have to take one over the course of this race. And that one has been taken by most of the crew here, and everybody that has already taken one will be safe to the end, with the exception of Charles Rotes, who came in on lap 1 after a spin, destroyed his right rear suspension on that car. Fast repair gets that car back into the race. Currently sitting P6 for Charles Rotes, a lap down from the leaders. Tony, I imagine he's in this lap by. I would say it'd be remiss of him not to respond to the undercut. That's fair. I appreciate it. On the would have yelled from you, Rain. So looking at the delta here, that's not going to be much help because that's going to show the 30 seconds. So let's look at not the pit strategy. We'll find one of these that works. Sectors 1, 2, and 3. Kevin Hayes was slower this most recent time by. But there's Kevin Hayes coming down the start-finish stretch. Anthony Bowen trying to unlap himself from going 2 laps down as he has to take that second pit stop, I believe, for a drive-through penalty. And Anthony Bowen hanging out on the inside not to get in the way of the battle. Tony Caicedo having the fastest pit stop of them all with a 6.83 pit box time for a total of 40.43 pit lane travel time. And ends up 4 seconds ahead of Kevin Hayes. And that is rapidly closing down to 3 seconds as Coney desperately tries to get those tires up and to temperature. Pull out this battle box, look at the track positions, see the 7 drivers still out on track. Getting through lapped traffic for a few of them. Battle for first being marked as pretty much not a battle at the moment. Most of the track battles right now are going to be considered via lap times over the next few laps as we come up with the 15 minutes to go, probably next time by for Tony. Taking a look further down the order, Charles Rotes having a pretty fantastic recovery race for that incident early on. See if we can ride along board with the driver kind of over the shoulder. We take a lap, look at a lap here. Kind of looked at one earlier with Devin. A minute 18 from Charles to Matt Markley. It was 7 seconds. Minute 18. It was 7 seconds behind Joey Trunka. Lockup of the brakes there for Charles. Ends up sliding a little ways down, but nothing he hasn't recovered from prior. And I think he'll be okay. Keep that car moving in the right direction. Bit of a rough race for him this evening. It's our best time there. These buttons here. He is in from where he was earlier. Hard on the brakes. Get that pit limiter on. You can see that flashing light in the background as he enters pit lane for his first official stop. And we are back to looking at the numbers between laps for these drivers. I look at our sectors markers for P1, +1 and -1. Kevin Hayes currently a 28.136. Devin Adams 4 hundredths faster than Hayes in sector number 1. We'll see what sector number 2 looks like for these drivers here in a moment. Kevin Hayes and Devin Adams both running slower than Tony after the pit cycle, at least this lap. I look at our time delta. Or excuse me, I should say our lap history. The past 5 laps for these drivers. Overall, a bit some faster, some slower for these drivers, but overall keeping about the same pace. Kevin Hayes 3 hundredths faster this time than last time. Anthony Bowen, who's having a rough night, I think has another spin here. Really struggling to learn the Dallara 324. A valiant effort from him all the same to keep that car going the right direction. Oh, just super late on the brakes there. Curious if there are not technical gremlins currently plaguing Anthony as he's going through this lap. As he goes through turns 11 and 12 into 13 here. This lovely hairpin and just locks up the brakes, trying to get that car going the right direction. Struggling with it. He is back into pit lane. Charles Rotes also in as well. For, I believe, incident limits for those ones. As we hang around with Kevin Hayes in second. Couple of tenths per lap seem to be the difference between these drivers. And Tony setting slightly slower laps this last time by. We'll see if there's another slower lap for him this time. 30 minutes elapsed, 33. So we have just over 10 minutes left to go in the race before we crown our first victor of the OFUC Season 2, 2OF2UC, 2OF2UC, I think is the current status there. And Kevin Hayes sets the fastest lap of the race with that 135.63, going 0.2 faster than Tony Caicedo as these two get closer together. Devin Adams kind of on an island behind them. Joey Trungale behind both of them. Behind Devin Adams, another 5 seconds back. Matthew Markley, another 7 seconds behind him. And then we get into lap traffic with Charles Rotes and Anthony Bowen round out the 7 drivers, still all on track. As I see Charles Rotes gets labeled as crashed, but I don't think that's right. We'll see what this shows us. See if it shows us something here. Maybe a spin coming into the corner here. Yeah, just the slightest of slim bins, but keeps that car from going all the way around. Able to get that car going again. I think an overreaction from my event ticker. So, we'll see here. I'm going to give it a couple more laps. 10 minutes to go. Maybe we'll hop back in. See if any final thoughts from the drivers. But that gap sitting still at about 3 seconds between Kevin Hayes and Tony Caicedo. And Tony Caicedo going even faster with a 135.59, new fastest lap for him. Devin Adams entered pit lane as well as he dives into pit lane for, I believe, a drive-through penalty. We'll have to see here if I can get one of these pit lane ones going. No, he is going to his box. Do not fuel enough, I wonder. Or does he have a black flag for not taking a slowdown? We'll have to see as we get underway here. Hits the box, hits the marks. In, comes back up. So I'm super curious where this comes from. OFUC Season 3, Tokyo Drift. Oops, all Fuji. I would have to imagine that is Oops, all Drift. Yeah, serving, I believe, a penalty for failing to take a slowdown for Devin Adams. He's in that box for 20 seconds. Let's go see if he has words for this, if our thing works correctly this time.
I don't like that.
I was really tight on entry, and all of a sudden moved the brake bias back. Hey, look at that.
Devin.
0.2. You know?
Christ, son of a bitch.
Devin,
Came out of nowhere.
Did you get a slowdown penalty?
Devin went to take a piss. He got a stop and piss penalty.
Stop and piss penalty.
Yeah,
Okay.
mandatory stop and piss.
Okay, got it. Oh, man. Kevin Hayes setting that fastest lap there.
Did you actually? Son of a bitch.
0.47.
Oh, I'm cooked. Oh, I'm cooked. Oh, I'm so cooked.
You got
God damn
10 minutes to hold out the lead there. 3 seconds, 2.8. What's the plan, Tony?
Pray. get a crazy draft off of Charles, and then while I'm passing him and Kevin is catching up to him, hope that Charles spins.
Okay.
Throw a banana peel in front of Charles after I pass him.
No, I'm trying to take Devin's position here from his stop and piss, okay?
Charles, you have now become a strategic pawn in my battle.
Now, what you're going to do is you're going to help me out here.
Nope, battle's
Yeah,
over.
right.
Battle
No.
is over.
What happened? What happened?
Oh no.
Told you I was cooking the rears.
Yeah, those rears definitely
Oh.
got cooked.
I was on for a 34-6 there as well.
Gosh.
That was
Wow.
flying.
Wow.
Hey, it wasn't turn 4. We talked about it before the stream.
I felt it on entry too, and I was like, I got to go for it. I got to still stomp down on the throttle, and it just
No damage.
no damage. It just didn't want to cooperate with me.
It that corner, like mid corner, if it feels just like the slightest bit weird, you kind of just got to give it a half throttle. If you stamp on it, then like it's not going to cooperate with you.
Are you too far back, Tony?
There you go, Tony. Look at that, 35.43.
Nice
I
job,
caught
Tony.
toe on Charles here.
I was trying to let you buy. I didn't know if you were going to be too far back for it.
Hold him up, Charles.
Go, go. Oh,
Hold him
no.
up, 10 seconds.
I already passed Charles.
Yeah, my bad. I can battle him now.
Please
I'm
don't.
here, Max
Just London.
Verstappen. My name's Esteban Ocon.
Lunge him into the hairpin. All right, I'll go back to my booth now. I just was curious if Devin had the slowdown there. Good luck on the last 10 minutes. Don't spin, Tony, otherwise
Thank you, Fed.
you'll bottle it. So
Try not to.
good luck.
I'll try not to. Thank you. Bye, Fen.
Bye bye. All right, hopefully that was heard this time. We'll find out if that's the case. Lock in, Tony. Well, Tony has what it sounds like a very easy race to the finish at this point. So, as much as I would love for him to lock in, I think it's a pretty easy thing unless he absolutely bottles it here in the last 10 minutes. I said it twice now. I'm super concerned I'm going to commentators curse him. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Kevin Hayes was on track for a 34 that last time by. I have to imagine he's at least able to pull it out at some point here. Because I was setting the fastest lap there. Loud and clear. Perfect. That's what I love to hear, Darian. Thank you for confirming that everybody was heard on the broadcast from the radio, the driver's radio for this race. I am going to jinx him. So I'm going to quick look through the rest of the field. Anthony Bowen, another, like I said, fantastic running. Still out here getting places done. Still P7, a fantastic way to start out the season, especially if we have all the people that said they were going to race tonight, but they had important things like the Spa 24-hour to go do that they couldn't take a night to go drive for 45 minutes in a Super Formula Light. I don't blame them, but Anthony Bowen out here showing that you can do it no matter what else you're doing. And he has had, I think, a heck of an evening, but he is still learning the ropes here. I think he's having a great time doing it, at least for the moment. See how much, if he holds up Tony at all, gets out of the way. Spa is not more important, right? That's my thought exactly, Rain. Spa is absolutely not more important than OFUC. So, great points for him, regardless of his evening, should he stick with it for the rest of the season. Charles Rotes having a fantastic night as well, getting the point back from Devin Adams, who had the stop and piss break, I believe. Let's put in a late surge, Bowen. It's very possible. Anthony Bowen is still a lap ahead of the next driver up. And 46 seconds. Bowen being cheered on by his fans. Love to see it. And Tony Caicedo currently leading the race. 135.79 this last time by. Kevin Hayes, while it wasn't a on track or a legal lap because it had an off track when there had set the unofficial fastest of a 135.29. Oh no, I believe Anthony Bowen had a bit of a moment there going into and that is a crunched front end, I'm gonna guess. Let's see if we can grab another angle of it here. Yeah, looks very unhappy. So, a unfortunate, late race crunch there. Jumps the pits. He should have enough time. 41 minutes on the clock, 42, so 3 minutes left. He's got enough time to at least get that car back rolling and take the checkered flag. But still 12 seconds between Tony and Kevin Hayes, and 20 seconds between him and Joey Trungale, who I don't think expected to be on the podium at the start of today. We'll have to see if he is around for a post-race interview, though it may be a bit of a hard one to get accomplished. But started P6 up 3 positions to P3 as a result of race incidents for Charles Rhodes, Matthew Markley, and Devin Adams, all having issues there, giving him those 3 positions. So a podium for your first time out in OFUC, that I'm aware of at least, it's probably a great way to wrap up your night. Let's see, with there being 2 minutes left, we'll see where Tony comes back around for the start-finish lap. Start-finish time, we'll see whether or not he's going to get the white flag as they come on by. Devin Adams back into pit lane. What for? Let's see if I can get... Oh, is this a drive-through? This is an actual drive-through for incident limit for Devin Adams. Still ahead so far of Anthony Bowen, but losing time to Charles Rhodes, who successfully has P3 in his sights. P3? P5. One of two. I think I said P5. Hopefully I said P5. Now, I want to see, is the white flag out for Tony Caicedo? I believe that's a white flag. He's waving something. So I think this is the white flag this time by. It just doesn't look like it because who knows? He's just waving nothing. So white flag for Tony Caicedo here on lap 28. With 44 minutes and less than a minute till the end of the timer. And therefore, the checkered flag this next time by only has to keep it together for about 4 more corners. And he will have successfully taken his first win of the season in OFUC at Algarve International Circuit. Puffs of smoke as the brakes lock and unlock, as he really leverages threshold braking to his advantage. I think that is going to be a checkered flag for Tony Caicedo and Devin Adams. I think trying not to have to do another lap. Tony Caicedo takes home P1 at Algarve International Circuit for round 1 of OFUC Season 2 to OFUC. Kevin Hayes coming home P2. Charles Rhodes secures his 5th position, a lap behind Joey Trungale, coming around P corner number 14 and 15 to round out his final lap. I think we'll see Devin Adams and Matthew Markley make their way around to the checkered flag here. A fantastic showing from Joey Trungale. Matthew Markley coming home 7 seconds behind. I think both exactly where he started, so I think he had a bit of a fantastic evening as well. Charles Rotes back up to his starting position. Devin Adams, the last driver to finish, I believe. As Anthony Bowen has not gotten back in that car after he towed it to pit lane at the end of the race. Let's see. The hand is out. The hand is out, yes. You're going to use a student driver paint? No. I think this is the paint he had. I don't know. Unless that's just a paint that I have that got... It's just the paint that seemed to have gotten set for him. So. And Devin Adams rounding turn number 15 to come home P6 in the league here. Your race results are available as that car explodes. Tony Caicedo taking home P number 1 with that 127. Super Formula Light, whatever you want racing. Kevin Hayes in P2. P3, Joey Trungale. P4, Matthew Markley, a newcomer to this season of OFUC. Charles Rotes, Devin Adams, and Anthony Bowen round out your 7 finishers of round number 1 of OFUC. So, with that, I think we may call it an evening there. I'll see how everyone is feeling afterwards. Here, let's do this. Quick question. Over under on the cooldown run. You guys are muted right now, but I have the stream still open, so I'm curious. Don't care. Okay, then we'll leave it out. Don't care. Cooldown room. Okay. All right. Well, we'll come back, I think, in a future races. Tonight, however, I think we're going to wrap it up pretty succinctly there. Round 1 in the books. Next week, the OFUC Racing League. So Osborne Formula Ultimate Challenge Season 2, Round 2 is at Fuji for OFUC 3 Tokyo Drift. No, but we will be going to Fuji without the chicane at the back end of the lap for round number 2 next Thursday. Same time, 8 p.m. will be the broadcast start time for these in Eastern time zone. 7 p.m. Central, and so on and so forth for those of you who are in other time zones outside of those two. It's been a fantastic time. Thank you all for whoever got the chance to stop by the broadcast. Hopefully next week we'll have more drivers on the grid that are not immediately going to the Spa 24 and therefore don't feel like they are capable of driving more than one car in a week. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying it's very easy to do, but I don't mean to sauce you. So thank you all very much for watching. We'll catch you all next week when we go to Fuji for Osborne Formula Ultimate Challenge Season 2. See you then.